Boys, getting shredded is easy. Whether you're looking to have abs that you could grate cheese on or just to lose the love handles, the principles of doing it right remain the same. For the past 4 summers, I've been getting absolutely diced and sliced quickly and efficiently by following these 5 rules that I came up with and the meals that I'm going to show you, along with some tips and hacks that I have. But before we jump into it, I'd like to ask you guys to subscribe. It really helped me out as this is a new channel and I'm trying to get it off the ground. But anyways, let's jump into it. With the first thing of whether you should be cutting in the first place or not. If you're a skinny teenager, this is not the time and place to be cutting. You should be bulking consecutively for years to build the mass so you have something to cut down to. You are wasting your time if you're trying to lose weight and you still have that semblance of abs and not much bicep along with it. I know cutting makes it seem like you're getting results faster, but I spent the first 5 years lifting in a caloric surplus bulking because you have to have something to cut down to. I personally only cut to make room for more bulking because that's where the actual gains are at. While you're losing weight, you're not gaining. This is a simple principle, but it will help you a lot. If you are one of those people that need to be bulking and not cutting, go check out my bulking video. But for the rest of you who have bulked properly or need to lose some weight, let's get into it. With rule number 1, and the most important rule, you have to be in a caloric deficit. Whether you did everything absolutely wrong, as long as you had less calories coming into your body than you burned, you would lose weight. This is a basic law of thermodynamics and is the key foundation of all the weight loss that you will incur. There are 3 main levers of weight loss. The first is eating less, the second is moving more, and the third is building muscle so your basal metabolic rate is higher and you burn more calories from doing nothing. Those second 2 require a lot more effort than the first. The first actually requires less effort of putting less food down your gullet and being able to sit there with a little bit of hunger as the pounds shed off your body. So the first thing we need to find out is your caloric maintenance. This is how many calories that you would be eating to remain exactly as you are. This is a combination of your basal metabolic rate or BMR and your NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That is a difficult word to say, which is essentially the movement that you have within your day, whether it's walking to work or getting up and down to go to the kitchen and make yourself a sandwich, which you shouldn't be doing if you're cutting. I'm just joking. We'll get into what you can and can't eat later, but overall, these combine to equal the amount of calories that you need to remain exactly the same. Our goal is to be right below that, because that is where the fat loss is. In this gap here is subtracting the subcutaneous tissue off of your body. Super easy way to do this is just look up an online calorie calculator or hop in one of those calorie tracker apps like MyFitnessPal or Chronometer, and it's close enough. You can regulate it based off of how it feels from that starting point that they give you. For example, here on my Chronometer, it says that my caloric maintenance is about 3,600 calories. So if I want to be losing weight, I am eating less than that, and depending on how fast I want to lose it, I'm eating significantly less than that or just slightly under it. Now that brings me to rule number 2, which is you have to stay moving. Burning less than your caloric maintenance is going to be pretty fucking hard if you're sitting on your ass all day. So get up and move. It can be anything from a form of cardio, playing sports, yard work, anything that gets your body moving and keeps your metabolism up. A lot of people in their cuts make the mistake of absolutely crashing their metabolism, which is the thing that burns the calories and ingests the fat on your body. You have to maintain this and keep that fire burning in your belly if you want to consistently lose weight throughout your entire weight loss phase. One of the best ways to do this is lifting weights because 1, it says, hey, let's keep our metabolism up and running, and 2, it tells your body that we still need the muscle that we previously built in our bulk, because if you're not lifting during your cut, your body might start consuming that tissue instead of the fat tissue for fuel, because if it's not being used, why would we keep it? So give your body a reason to keep that muscle, and if you're at a high enough body fat percentage, you will actually use that fat to fuel muscle growth. Isn't that great? You get leaner and you build more muscle. Come on guys, that's a win-win situation if I've ever heard one. But what about making the process easier and keeping that weight off? Well, that's where rules 3 through 5 come in. Technically, you don't need anything more than eating less food and moving more, but you can make that process a lot less painful with some simple tips, starting with rule number 3, which is enjoy what you eat. Holy crap, I cannot believe how many people suffer through their weight loss phase because they're eating these bland, terrible, horribly tasting foods. It is not that hard to have flavor-packed meals for the few calories that you get. If you're already eating less than you want to, why not make it taste amazing? I enjoy every single bite of food I eat while I'm cutting. It might just be because I'm hungry, but that's besides the point. How are you going to stick to a diet if you're miserable on more than one level besides that base hunger that you have from eating a little bit less than your body needs? With just some rudimentary cooking skills, you can make this a much easier process and one that you will stick to indefinitely if this is an entire diet switch up for you. Later on in this video, I'll cover some of the food and dietary swaps that you can make to make this process a lot more enjoyable and easier. But for now, let's jump into the kitchen and make some amazing tasting meals that are low on calories. All right, boys, girls, creatures of the gym, let's get cooking. The first dish that we're gonna be having is a ramen chicken bowl. And usually that's gourmet, served at restaurants, but all you need is one of these and some chicken and some vegetables and some eggs and some sauces and some spices. Less complicated than it sounds. First thing you want to do is cook the simplest dish known to man, which is ramen. Get that started so you can continue cooking everything else at the same time. Save this flavor packet for later. So while that boils, you're going to want to dice up your vegetables and then get started on your eggs first off. Get a non-stick pan, low heat, and usually I use some non-stick spray here, but I don't have any, so I'm going to commit an atrocity and use oil while cooking. So the next thing you want to do after you strain your noodles, dump them in there. Doesn't that look delicious? And our goal is to make them taste a little bit better. You want to put a little bit of soy sauce on there, and then we're going to hit it with some more garlic prime steak seasoning, just a little bit. And then I need that packet that I threw into the oblivion. Gotta go find that. This one. So as you can see by these ingredients, besides the ramen, they're all whole, healthy foods. Stuff that is very low calorie, and the ramen itself is relatively low calorie for the amount of carbohydrates that it provides. Okay, so now that we have our eggs nicely done and in the bowl, we're going to get started on that chicken. I also forgot to do the bell peppers, so we're gonna throw in half of those right here just to fry up a little bit in the leftovers of the egg. Get them a little crispy as they were supposed to be under the egg. Yet again, I have cut brain right now and it's like 9 p.m. at night. So the next one tomorrow morning will be done a little bit better. We're throwing in our chicken here, and then we're gonna hit this with some Montreal steak seasoning. Secret hack to get better pumps in the gym, salt everything. The chicken now heated up, we're gonna turn that on low heat, and then hit it with some sauce. This is 5 calories per tablespoon, so we're gonna be pretty liberal with that because it's really not costing us anything. Throw that right on there. Ooh, that looks good right there. We're gonna top with our leftover bell pepper, the greens of the green onion, and then some red onion just for some extra added flavor. And there we go, look at that. Doesn't that just look absolutely delicious? It's got 70 grams of protein at just barely over 800 calories. I'm eating more because I'm a big boy, but let's say you are cutting on 2,400 calories. That's 3 of these a day. You're gonna be fine. So as I said, the principles remain simple. Whole foods, lean cuts of meat, you have little to no oil or butter and additives, nothing that's really processed. Yes, I know I use top ramen, but I'm not gonna go make my own noodles. And in the other recipes, you'll see that it becomes a lot more basic on the ingredients list. Even this ramen, not that many ingredients. And then of course, some seasonings and some sauces. And we're back with a breakfast meal. This time, hopefully not fucking up the order of the eggs. And I'll be using some similar ingredients here just to make shopping simpler. It's gonna be a typical American breakfast potatoes. You've got your potatoes right here, nice and diced. You've got some ground turkey, lean meat, 93%. 2 eggs, some green onion, some bell pepper, and some garlic here, and some red onion, which is still in the fridge. But all that garnish just adds extra flavor without a whole lot of extra effort, and more importantly, very little extra calories. Okay, first thing you want to do before tossing these in the oven, season to taste. We're going with that garlic steak seasoning, some paprika, and some mystery Tupperware salt. Kind of looks like the spice from Dune. So the nice thing about baking things in the oven is that it essentially adds no calories and you can get a nice crisp on your food. A lot of my stuff when I'm cutting is done in this nice little toaster oven right here. Makes things simple, and you can go fuck off and do something else while it's cooking. Okay, got a little distracted, but the potatoes are done and just staying warm in the oven. So let's get to cooking the eggs properly this time. I'm gonna start it off, put it on high, add the tiniest bit of olive oil. You're not cooking with garlic on everything, you are fucking up. We're gonna go with the whites of our green onion, because these crisp better, and then the greens are better as garnish. And put in half of your red bell pepper. Those have browned properly. We're gonna just drop our 2 eggs right on top of them. Season to taste. Put 200 grams or so of ground turkey right here. Because the meat is 93.7, it is very lean, but there still is some fat, so you don't need to use any cooking oil as long as you have this non-stick pan. And would you look at that, but we're not done. We're gonna take the remainder of our red onions, sprinkle that within all of the potatoes there. Take the tops of your green onion and do the same. Let's take some Frank's Red Hot. And to finish it all off, we have some strawberries. And for all of this, it's 716 calories. You're telling me you can't lose weight eating 2-3 of these a day? Come on. Yet again, we have these whole foods and we're not slacking on the nutrients either. These aren't egg whites, these are full eggs here. And we're getting our protein in, we're getting our full carbohydrates. This is enough right here to get a great pump at the gym if you're hitting an AM workout, PM workout, whatever it is, and you get a little sweet treat. We've got low sugar ketchup. We're using barely any oil on the entirety of the meal, and we're finding ways to work around those detriments. Remember to find the ways to add flavor back into your meal. We've got those extra vegetable garnishes that you don't think add that much because they're so small, but it is a burst of flavor along with a shit ton of seasoning and the right sauces with the right amount of calories to fit your diet. All right, and now we have rule number 4, slow and steady wins the race. I cut pretty aggressively because my goal is to just get back to bulking while having to eat less calories. I don't really care about gaining some of the fat back, but if you do, the slower you go, the more likely it is going to stay off. The guy who loses 20 pounds in 2 months is going to have a lot harder and more miserable a time than the guy who does it over 6 months. Your body is essentially fighting this survival versus homeostasis balance. If you're cutting too aggressively, it feels like you're starving, but if you're doing it just below your caloric maintenance over an extended period of time, your body is allowed to adapt to this new homeostasis at a lower body fat percentage. I know that it is hard to be patient with this weight loss, but if you've been sitting with these love handles for years, why not take an extra couple months to keep them off permanently and establish those habits that you need to maintain a lean physique year-round and for the rest of your life? I drop about 1 to 2 pounds of scale weight a week at a pretty lean body fat starting percentage. So for those of you who've got a little bit more mass on you, you could drop between 2 to 4 pounds starting off. Just be sure to regulate it as you go on. Slow is still pretty fast when it comes to weight loss. It's moreover just making sure that you're doing something maintainable. A great way of doing this is tracking your weight and comparing it to your hunger and how you feel overall. If you're losing weight and it feels okay, there's no reason to really go too drastically more because eventually you're going to have to drop those calories a bit more. It might as well be a little bit later on while your body's acclimated to the current set of lower calories it has to work with. And that brings me to rule number 5, which is counting your calories. Yes, I know that, oh my God, tracking all your food in your phone, it's such a hassle, but actually it's kind of fun and you make it a little game after a while. And most importantly, it holds you accountable and makes this a scientific exact process. Not exact because you never can count the exact amount of calories that you're having because yada yada yada, 20% difference in the FDA standards on the food labels. But what I'm saying here after that side tangent is that it makes things much easier, because if you have a number that you cannot go above and you're below it, hey, there's no, I've eaten less today, I'm gonna have a few more bites, and then you end up losing no weight. It's no, we're done for today. Sleep, wake up, and eat breakfast tomorrow. It makes things so much easier. Unfortunately, you do have to be a bit more precise than when you're bulking, which my rule is essentially just a couple bites past full. Here, you have to weigh some stuff out and make sure that you are eating below that caloric maintenance. After a while, you begin to get the ability to start guesstimating about how many calories things are, but don't get too complacent, because this can easily lead to you eating more than you think you are. And then also, it gives you a great idea of what exactly you're eating, which is awesome for when you're bulking back up. Foods that are high in protein, foods that have high calories that you can't eat now, but you better save and enjoy when you're back to bulking and trying to put on mass. Oh my God, that's my favorite thing. When I switch from cutting to bulking, and then I can indulge in things like butter and olive oil on my food, which you take so much for granted when you're in the depths of winter, full of your Eskimo fat, getting hella strong. Yeah, and then in summer comes and you're like, oh my God, I would kill for some butter on my toast right now. Side tangents are going in. I think that I need to get back to the point. So there are a few simple no effort hacks that I have to always ensure that I'm in a caloric deficit. And the first one is I don't let my calorie tracker have access to my step count on my phone. It'll ask you if it wants to access your step count. This usually results in another 200 to 300 calories added to what you're going to eat in the day. I just say no, and that right there is my deficit, and I don't have to do anything about it. The second thing I do is I do not account for any of the activity I do, whether it be cardio or weights, within my calorie tracker. It always asks what your activity level is throughout the week, and I'll answer that honestly. I was like 4 to 5 days of high intensity training or lifting throughout the week, but then I don't input anything into the calculator when it comes to me actually exercising, because that's just more deficit that I don't even have to do anything about. It's really just a mental game of your mind seeing the number of calories that you're allowed to eat within the day and not coping that, oh, maybe I can get some more if I put my exercise in there and then my steps in there. And the next thing you know, you're not losing weight anymore, you're gaining it back. Another thing I do is I round up my measurements when it comes to food. Let's say I've got like 350 grams of watermelon. I probably snacked on a couple pieces while I was preparing the rest of my meal, so I'll up that to 450 grams, and that extra like 60-70 calories is just more to chuck in the deficit. This allows me to do things like get shredded from the peak of my bulk to where I'm at now within a month. All right, now that we've got the 5 essential rules out of the way, let's talk about some other tips and hacks that you can use to get lean easier, starting off with some dietary swaps. But the first thing being, you need to increase the amount of protein that you're eating. 1, to conserve the muscle that you have, and 2, because it's been proven that protein is more satiating than carbs and fats. Think about when you're out eating at the restaurants and they put the bread on the table and you're going through that bread because you're hungry. Oh, it's so good. You keep on eating more bread and more bread. Yeah, that's because you don't really get satiated from carbs and fats. But if they threw a steak on the table, oh my God, by the time it got to ordering, you would not want to order. But that bread you can continue to eat because it's not protein. There are some easy practical swaps that you can make while you're in the grocery store too. Pick the low fat and the zero sugar options, the high protein option, and most importantly, pick the whole unprocessed foods. Yes, you can still have French fries while you're cutting. Just get your own goddamn potatoes and make them in the oven instead of deep frying them from a bag that you found in the frozen section. There is varying degrees of whole unprocessed food. Oh, a French fries potato. Yeah, but you know what's even better? That raw potato that you pick out of the produce section. It's got like almost negative calories by the time you prepare and eat it. Whole unprocessed foods are also simply better for your body. If you are a machine, you want to give yourself the highest grade fuel. You want to keep that metabolism a raging fire, well, feed it the best diesel, petroleum, jet engine fuel that you can. And that will be those whole unprocessed foods. Another huge swap is using non-stick avocado or olive oil spray. Stay away from them seed oils, kids. Them polyunsaturated fats will kill you sooner or later. We're already seeing it all over America. But this right here, a little spritz on the pan to make sure that your shit doesn't stick in there, is all you need. Cutting out these extraneous cooking oils is a huge amount of calories. Let's say you have 3 meals a day and you splurge some olive oil in each one. That's like 500 calories of olive oil and you don't even know it. So be very careful when it comes to cooking fats. And along with this, choose some voluminous foods while in your grocery store. And oh, what's voluminous? Fruits and vegetables. I eat more fruit than a monkey in the jungle when I'm cutting, whether it's watermelon, oranges, strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, apples. I am chomping on fruit because it's your sugar fix, because sugar is one of the highest caloric things and you're not going to be eating a whole lot of chocolate bars and ice cream while you're cutting, so swap it out for that fruit and your taste buds actually enjoy it more. I had some brownies, just a one bite that my girlfriend made a couple nights ago, and it wasn't as good as the apple that I was having with my dinner. It's honestly crazy how your body changes and your taste buds change when you're not interacting with high fructose corn syrup every single day in your diet. Now, when you're making all these swaps, this does not mean cut out all carbs and fat and just go keto and be in ketosis and operate like a caveman. No, like your body needs fuel and most people are not going to function well on that. I sure don't. I've tried doing ultra low carb, more high protein diets. God, I feel like shit. My workouts are like shit. It like honestly makes me a little sick. I need some carbs to feel good and still bust out workouts that make me feel good. You just have to find those foods that you get your carbohydrates in, but they also fit your caloric budget. And yet again, that comes back to whole unprocessed foods. Holy shit! Now that you've got your diet and your grocery shopping locked down, the second habit that you need to be focusing on is increasing your cardio and your activity. Starting off with hitting about 8 to 10,000 steps as a minimum each day. This is just an easy way to keep your NEAT high without really having to put too much effort in. Instead of taking your car to go 2 blocks down the street to the grocery store, why not walk there? Or hey, you're after a meal and you're digesting your food, instead of going lay on the couch, take a walk around the block. It's really not that hard to just burn a couple extra calories while you're resting. Like walking is not that intensive. The second thing you can do is just easy cardio that you can enjoy and do consistently. What I do is I just hop on the exercise bike for a maximum of 30 minutes. Either I read a book if I have a book on my Kindle that I want to read, or I watch a podcast or a TV episode. It's really not that bad. You don't have to go super hard unless you really want to, and you honestly shouldn't, because it will lower your NEAT as you'll be too tired from that cardio session to do those easy walks that you were already doing, which make you a lot less hungry than powering through a couple extra miles on the bike. Something that really reinvigorates the willpower and commitment to a diet are cheat meals and diet breaks. The first thing that they do is getting in a big meal every once in a while keeps your metabolism up and running and make sure that you're still burning your maintenance level of calories while you're in a deficit. Another thing is it is a mentality break and reinforcement to be able to just eat some fucking food and not worry about, oh my god, am I gonna be so bloated and fat tomorrow? Is all my progress gonna be for nothing? Is really relieving. Now, this doesn't mean that you just go all out and pig out on pizza and ice cream and all those fatty, greasy, sugary foods and just be like, it's my diet break, bro. It doesn't count. No, there is a right way to do it. For example, I had one today at lunch. We had a senior send-off for me and the people within my program here at college, and we had a luncheon. So you know what I did? Is I ate a goddamn lot of food. But you know what I also did? Since it was at 11:30, I skipped breakfast. That right there is like 800, 900 calories in the bank. I also ordered the steak and fries. You know what that is? Potatoes and protein, aka fuel for my workout and fuel for my muscles. Right there, yes, it had some cheese on it. It has some good garlic aioli, all these extra fats that I'm usually not having. That's where the flavor, that's where the willpower comes in. It's fueled by fat. But I didn't go and order brownies afterwards. I didn't go and have an ice cream sundae with it. It's more of what I usually eat, just in bigger portions. And I feel so satiated and refueled while still, because I didn't eat breakfast, kind of being under my caloric maintenance and I'll just have a smaller dinner. This doesn't mean that you have to try to fit it in your caloric gap if you're on a cheat meal or a refeed day, but a lot of the times it works out because you just got a boost in your willpower and you're like, yeah, you know what? I can make today work even if I was a bit over on calories for this one meal. Another thing I do is I do not plan these things. I let them occur naturally so I don't feel guilty, because if you plan one a week before and then you have one a couple days afterwards that's impromptu, you don't want to be the party pooper that's like, sorry guys, I gotta sit here and bring my Tupperware dinner because I had a cheat meal a couple of days. No, let them occur naturally and you'll feel no guilt. It's a check and balance system. Order the right foods so you know you're not going overboard, but enjoy those big ass portions that the restaurant gives you. These right here, by just taking a week where you're either eating at caloric maintenance, which would be a diet break, or a cheat meal, which is what I've been talking about, is a great way to get back into the game, especially for those extended weight loss periods that are longer than 1 or 2 months. And the last tip that I have is intermittent fasting, kind of. Really, it's something that I learned from bulking, because when I'm bulking and I'm putting down like a 1,700 calorie breakfast, I feel sluggish and like crap. I don't want to get anything done. So you know what I do is I just don't eat breakfast till 11 o'clock or so when I'm cutting, and hop on my computer or go do my cardio in the morning and get some shit done. I don't actually intermittent fast, but delaying my breakfast, because you're really not hungry when you immediately wake up, and going and using that mental clarity that you have has been a huge advantage. I literally scripted the rest of this video, not scripted, I make an outline. This is all off the cuff. During that period before my breakfast. And maybe for you, this is an implementation later at night. You eat like a 5 o'clock dinner and you don't have anything, and that's when your mental clarity is until you go to bed. But really what you should do is find a block of time where you're comfortable with not really eating for a while, so you're not thinking about food and you're more occupied with your task at hand. So to give you the TLDR of a long video, which you magically made it to the end of, thank you very much for that. You want to be in a caloric deficit, aka less than your caloric maintenance. You want to move your fucking ass to maintain your metabolism and keep your muscle mass. And then you want to find your sustainable little tips and tricks so that it's not as painful to lose weight. The big one being enjoy what you eat. And then you want to do it over an extended period of time to keep that weight off. Or like me, you cut quick and get back to bulking to make some fucking gains. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys could subscribe if you've watched this far, you must like something that I'm doing. And I'm out. Peace.